So it's the night before day 2 here. It's like a little after 2 in the morning. We restart at 1 o'clock for the $1 million guaranteed main event. Kind of like getting a little nervous, but excited. You know, you're in the money, there's just around 100 people left, and you got some big money up top. Don't really get too many of these opportunities. And yeah, maybe the nerves and like you can get in your head a bit, but you know, you just kind of hope it works out your way. Competitive side, of course the money is nice, but just being able to win a tournament and, you know, like this and be able to vlog it would be really cool. So I mean, I don't know, I can't lose sleep over it. I gotta get some good rest, but we're hopeful. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. On an incredible series.
Facing me?
Yeah.
Nice, that'd be nice.
Cheers.
Bring it up. Cheers to you.
Cheers. I just want to say hi. It's weird. Alright, we just bagged for day 2 on Sunday. We have 470K. We just finished the 12K big blind level. But feeling pretty good. It's midnight and we're just gonna get some rest. We have the day off tomorrow. And yeah, that's it. I'm beat. But happy to bag for day 2. So, until next time, we'll see ya. Everybody, we just finished an awesome Korean barbecue lunch with our friends Tyler and Wei. And we are on our way to go play day 2 of this main event. So wish us luck, we'll keep you posted. All right, so the first playable hand we get here is pocket 9s. We blind it down a little bit. We're in early position and we raise it up to 25K. And at this point, for sure, I can definitely feel my blood pumping a little bit. It's early in day 2. This is like the first hand I'm playing and nerves are a little, you know, all over the place, which is kind of exciting to feel that immediately once you jump into a tournament. We get 3-bet here to 80K. And now I look at my stack and see how many chips I have, and it feels a little bit too tight to just fold 9s here. I'm going to catch some good boards. I can call at least 1 bet and then go from there. And if we happen to flop a set, that's obviously amazing. But yeah, so I think for a minute, and then I decide to make the call here for 80K and see a flop. Now the pot's already big relative to the size of my stack, so, you know, maybe I could have folded and just avoided this spot. But the flop comes king, 10, 8, 2 overs. And pre-flop aggressor continues betting here. And they bet 150k, which is half my stack. It's huge. At this point, if I'm going to be playing this hand, I think I'm just getting it in. But I'm not, so I fold. And that puts us down to 342, and our opponent shows aces. Here we look down at kings, which is an amazing feeling, especially not too long after the nines hand. We're in an early position here. Blinds are now 12k, and I raise it up to 30k. Probably still a little bit nervous at this point, honestly. Nice to get a big hand here and praying for something nice to go our way. But we do get called by the middle position and the big blind. So we go three ways to the flop, and the flop is 7, 8, 4 rainbow. The big blind checks to me, and with 108k in the middle, I am gonna decide to bet. I think I wanted to go about half the size of the pot. We bet 50k here. And if called, we would have around a pot size bet on the turn, if called once. I also think it's a size that with the other stacks involved, they could just be jamming over it. I didn't want to bet too big, but I also didn't want to bet too small on this board, especially with the big blind overcalling. But the C-bet does take it down. And then the next hand we have here, we're in middle position with 360k, 30 bigs. We raise the ace-10 to 30k. And there is a flat behind and another situation where the big blind right across the table from us also completes. So we are going three-way to the flop here. And the flop is going to come down 10, 7, 7. So we have top pair, top kick. The big blind checks to us. We decide to continue betting here. And we go about half the size of the pot again. We bet 50k. Definitely need to continue betting here. And very quickly after we bet, the player behind us goes all in. And honestly, I get a little nervous at first. I was like, dang, we're playing a big pot here, man. They had a decent amount of chips. I did slightly cover, but I'm just not folding ace-10 here on this board. So we call, and thankfully, maybe, we see 6-5 of hearts here. We got to fade a heart, and the run out is clean. And we pick up a very nice pot here. And a little shaky, man. This is day 2 nerves here. But that was great. And then we have a hand here in middle position. We have 605k at this point, and we are going to raise this up. Raise it up to 35k here. And then the big blind is going to defend here after everyone folds. And then we are going to go to a flop here. We have a decent amount of chips at the 16k big blind level, 600k, and we go to a flop of ace, queen, deuce. Now there's 94k in the middle, pretty standard here. The big blind checks to us, and we flop top 2 pair. So we're definitely going to continue. Question is the sizing, and I decided to bet here 40k in this instance. The player that I'm up against has maybe around 300k at the start of this hand. We bet 40k. They take a second and they call. So we have 174k in the middle now. And the turn is an 8 of clubs, which is interesting. I think I can better check here. This is a capable player I'm up against, so I decided to check. I did not want to bet and get jammed on and be in a tough spot. So check, check, turn, and then we get to the river. It's a jack. And then my opponent here jams all in for 271k, which is more than the size of the pot. And man, this is a massive, massive spot here for a lot of chips versus a capable player. I really had to make sure before I made this call for over half my stack. I needed to make sure that I had thought it through well. All right, we have top two pair. Flush came in on the turn. And a weird straight, king 10. They maybe call the 40K on the flop. And when I go check, check, maybe they get there. But the question that I kept asking myself while I was thinking about this is, would they jam a flush here? And since I checked turn, are they completely discrediting me from having a flush here ever, that they can just jam for value and not be concerned about being beat? And the story didn't really add up to me here. I'm counting my chips, taking a look at how much this would cost me to make this call, what type of situation it would leave me in if I was wrong. So I'm putting everything together, I'm thinking, and it gets to a point where I have to start talking out loud to myself, and I vocalize all these things that I'm telling you now to my opponent, and I'm looking at him, and he's got good posture, not really giving anything away, but ultimately I just am like, man, I'm too high up in my range here. I'm too strong. I do not think that this is a jam for value. It just doesn't feel like that makes sense. And after quite a bit of deliberation, this was probably the toughest call that I had to make all tournament. I decided that, man, you know what? I even looked at him and I go, I know you're capable of this. This player had final tabled the PLO event. He was a friendly, so I know that they were good, and I just had to call. We threw it in, hoped for the best, and we are relieved when he flips over 4-5 for a missed wheel draw, and we scoop a big pot, brings us up close to $1 million in chips. But we're on the first break. We had a crazy kind of like first period there. We just had to call off this huge bluff. It was a good bluff. It was pretty sick, but we had to call off a huge bluff with ace queen, and that brought us up over $1 million in chips. And then right before the break, we had a hand with ace jack suited where we could have lost more chips. Flop top pair versus this guy, but I made a tight fold, but it feels fine in the big picture. But man, the blood is pumping. I'm like starting to sweat. I was in the tank for like 2 minutes on this call I had to make with the two pair, but we're still in it. We got 800K. We just finished the 16K big blind level, so we're rolling. We just gotta keep doing the thing, man. I don't know. Let's just hope this works out. My phone was actually full and I could not capture any more footage, so I had to borrow a phone here. But once we get that new phone set up, we look down at ace king in the hijack with about $500,000 in chips. There's an open in middle position, and I jam at the 15K, 30K level. And then there is a player behind who calls off the rest of their chips. And then the initial raiser is going to fold, and we are excited to see that we are up against ace queen in this hand, and we do cover them, so we're just praying for a clean run out, and we do get it. So this is massive. We pick up a 1.1 million chip pot here. And then the next notable hand that we come across is aces. So pretty to look down at, right? We're in the small blind, still 15K, 30K. We have 1.2 million chips at this point, and the table chip leader raises it up to 85K, right across the table from us. We take a second and think about it, and honestly, man, in some of these spots with live poker, I could feel the nerves a little bit, and I have to slow my thinking down. But I finally decide on a 300K 3-bet, which is a little under 4x his initial open sizing. He makes a fairly quick fold, and we pick up some chips here, so we continue to stack. And then with 5 tables remaining, we are changing tables. And we've been card dead for a bit. We just had to keep folding. We're on the second break here today, and we are sitting on about 1.3 million, coming up on the 40K big blind level. So we're doing decent, man. There's like 30-some people left here playing for 229K. Just lucky to be already where we're at. I think we've locked up close to like 7K. The white 100K chips are now in play, and we are back to the action. We find ourselves at this new table still, and we finally get into play a hand. We're in the blinds, in the big blind, to be precise, with ace 3 of clubs. And we are heads up versus a small blind who makes it 100K at the 40K level. The flop comes ace 4-4. Now, I think in this situation, this is going to be a fairly straightforward hand. They decided to continuation bet for 80K. I called. The turn brought in 8 of spades. They bet 125K. I make another very easy call. And the river is a king. They bet 150K, and not too much to think about here. It sucks if they have a 4, but we just have to call. And we do call, and we are happy to see that they did not have a 4. They had ace 5 suited, and we chopped this up. Great, great, great. And then there are 35 people left. We are continuing to ladder. It's getting very, very exciting here, with almost 1,400 people to start in this tournament. We have a bunch of little up and down raise, fold to 3-bet, raise, check, fold hands that go through here. Not too much happens. We do lose a few chips in those exchanges, and then that brings us to the final 3 tables. We have 15 blinds, or 765,000 in chips. And it's pretty exciting, but we have an easy stack to play with 15 blinds at this point. So we sit down, we get our camera set up, and we look down at ace 5 offsuit. And the blinds are now 30-60K. I'm a bit shorter. I really probably should have just jammed here, but I decided to get cheeky and make it 200K. Trying to get some folds. I'm still relatively new to the table, so I'm not sure everybody knows how many chips I have. So if I just go all in for 465K, it's an easy, oh, you have less than 10 big blinds call. But if I make it 200K, people aren't paying as attention. I might be able to get this through. Flop comes king 6-4, and a player in the later position had called me, and I completely missed. And I have 3 blinds at this point. So yeah, this is a crappy spot. I check, the other player goes all in, and I just have to fold. And ladies and gentlemen, with 3 blinds, we need some help. This is what happens, though, when you get a little cheeky sometimes. So we find ourselves folding our big blind the very next hand, and then we are in the small blind, which is 30K, and we are shuffling our last 55,000 chips and hoping that no one realizes how short we are. I'm trying to not make it incredibly obvious that I'm about to be all in here. Player in late position raises, 9-6 suited. I'm like, okay, this is good enough. Let's run it. And we have our last 85K chips in the middle there, and we're up against ace deuce of diamonds. 290K pot. We turn 2 pair, and we do triple up. 85-3. Yeah, we triple up here. Pretty insane. And from having 1 blind behind in the small blind, we now have 290K. And the very next hand on the button, we get jacks. Easy all in. The small blind here, snap goes all in as well. And we're hoping this is the spin up dream here. And we're up against queen 10 of spades. And another spot, we got to fade an over. Please. No straight draws, nothing. Need to fade a queen, and we do. And then just like that, from 85K in chips, actually 55K in chips in the small blind, we're now somehow up to 700,000 chips. Insane, insane. Holy crap. We were just down to, we literally folded with like 1.5 blinds in the big blind. And then we were almost all in we were in the small blind, 30-60K. We had our 30K small blind out there. We had 55K behind. We got it in with 9-6 of spades. We double, tripled, whatever up with that. And then The very next hand, we get jacks on the button. We get all in for like 290K at the 60K. And small blind Max, the guy we played heads up at Run It Up Reno for the Platinum Pass, he had Queen 10, and we won there. And now it's down to a little over 20 people, maybe 22 people, 21. And we have 700K again at the 60K big blind, whatever it goes up to. So this has been sick, man. I hope this is like some sick story, but we're still in it here like 6 hours later, so freaking go. Super excited. 22 people left. We have locked 8,280 bucks. We got about 765K in chips. We decide to put them all in here at the 60K level. We just get folds, we take it down, little boost there. And then at this point, the blinds are now 40K, 80K. I'm in the big blind. I look down at one card, I just see an ace, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait, sweat the other one, let's see what the action is later. There's a raise, and then there's a 3-bet, and I have to look, and I'm like, ace, king, this is friggin' sick, man. And of course, we're getting it all in here. And the 3-better, likely the chip leader in this tournament at this point, only has to call like another 300,000 chips or so, which is nothing. I think they maybe have like 6 million at this point. They have a massive, massive stack. And we're just waiting for them to call. We're like, geez, there's nothing else I can do here, man. I got ace king. I'm getting it in with less than 10 big blinds. And eventually, he does toss in the call. It's a side call for sure. And we see that we are way ahead. Ace-King versus Ace-7, but Ace-King has to hold. Ace-King has been good to us throughout this day. And we needed to fade a 7, and we did. And then just like that, man, from 55K in the small blind to 1.9 mil. We're feeling good. And then we look down at Ace-Jack here. At this point, the blinds are now 50K, 1K. We're in the cutoff. We are raising it up to 250K. And at this point, man, I'm starting to feel like a flow. I'm like, this can happen. Stay focused, play well. And the button in this hand here decides to 3-bet us to 600K. 600K, and then it gets back to me, and I think for a bit, and I'm not gonna lie, I thought about just playing tight and folding. I played tight in some spots, and it worked out fine in these live tournament. But this was just a spot against another player who I thought was capable. And man, if I'm getting deep in a tournament like this, and I'm folding Ace Jack in a late position to a 3-bet, man, I think I need to just hang it up. So we eventually reel it back in. We're like, nah, son. And I decide to go all in here for my last 1.6 million. It doesn't take too long before folding, and we're like, okay, you didn't screw it up, buddy. And we pick up a nice pot here. And we're cruising. We're feeling really good. Players are dropping. We're laddering. And then now we are down to the final 2 tables. We've got 21 blinds. 16 people left, and we have locked up $12,000, our biggest live cash yet. And then we have a very interesting hand here with the King Queen offsuit. We're in the cutoff with 2.1 million in chips. We raise it up to 250K. The button and both blinds call. The flop comes King 9-7. And I am definitely going to continuation bet here. I bet 500K, a little under half the pot. And in my mind, it was weird. I was like, I'm betting a little bit bigger than I might normally here, but it's going to discourage any raises. It's a multi-way pot. And if somebody does raise me here, I could find a fold. It was really weird. And then it happened. The button raised me, min-clicked to 1 million. And I was like, man, I already thought about this. I thought this could happen. And for some reason, I showed because I felt super confident about it. And then they immediately tabled jacks. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. But, hey, that's the way it goes sometimes, man. You get bluffed, and it just is what it is. I told that person that was a nice play by them. And I was mad at them at the same time. A good player, good play. Respect. And then shortly after that, right before the break, we have ace jack in the small blind here with our last 1.1 million in chips, late position open. We jam, easy jam, and the bad news is we're up against ace king here. And we need some help, man. We need a jack. I still believed up to this point. But then when the 10 dropped, our main event dreams were over. All right, everyone. We have busted the main. It sucks, but it is what it is. We busted in 12th. We had, like, hey, get out of the frame. You're making it ugly.
Do you want it to be more ugly? The ugliest frame of all time.
I want to play the series.
I'm playing.
Alex won't play in the series. Yo,
Let's go,
buddy.
let's go.
Perfect timing. So Alex will play in the series. We busted 12th in the main for 18K. It has come to an end. The Prime Social people were crazy. They were awesome. This was such a good stop, but an amazing time. So I hope you enjoyed the vlogs, and yeah, we'll see you later. Thanks for tuning in. Hey everybody, thanks for making it to the end of my video. No one does that, do they? All right, look, I respond to comments, so please leave a comment below the description and let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, check out some of my last videos here, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button here. All right, my name is Drew. Peace out. Catch up with you later.